Hello, and welcome to Behind the Inspiration Podcast. I am your host, Ken Waller, and I am just so thrilled today to have as my guest, Miss Celeste Kennedy. Well, let me let you know a little bit about Celeste Kennedy. Celeste Kennedy is originally from San Francisco, California. She relocated here to the Northern Virginia area back in, I believe, 2000. Celeste came to basically raise her son and to follow her motherhood and healthcare driven purpose. Celeste, for over a decade, Celeste actually served on the youth ministry, girls teen ministry, Rites of Passage for Ebenezer A.M.E. Church down in Fort Washington, Maryland. In 2015, Celeste actually heard her calling and migrated over to the Woodbridge campus of Zion Church. When she was there, she actually served in women's ministry leadership, becoming director after 2 years. Celeste has a very clear picture on what it takes to inspire women. Her women's ministry has taken her all over the place, especially working within outreach ministries for the Zion Church, ministering to people in Dominican Republic, I believe, and she'll talk about a lot of that stuff as we go on. But Celeste Kennedy has a heart for Jesus Christ. She's a grounded person. I am so glad that I had an opportunity to meet her. And right now, I don't want to leave this part out too, but I believe in 2018, Celeste heard the calling of God and became a licensed minister. So I am just thrilled to have Celeste here with us today. She is a friend of mine. Like I said, I haven't known her all my life, but it feels like I've known her all my life. So without any more hesitation, I want to introduce you to Celeste Kennedy. Celeste, how you doing today?
Good morning, Kenny. I'm doing great, thank you. How are you, sir?
I am doing fantastic. I am so thrilled to have you here today. It's just overwhelming. So thank you for joining.
Oh, thank you. I am honored and delighted. I am excited. Thank you. I am just blessed of God to be here with you. I am thrilled. I'm as excited as you are.
Thank you. Now, Celeste, of course, I read your whole bio, and unfortunately, with time restrictions, I can't really, read all of it. And I will tell you that you've done some excellent things. You've done some very good things in regards to women perspective in ministry. A lot of times, as me being a man, you look at the church dynamics, there's not a lot of men in the church any longer, and we need to, of course, change that dynamics as well. But as far as your focus on women and the role that they play in ministry, how do you manage some of those things in regards to whether anything that you needed to get out of it that you basically are able to pour into other people right now? So I know it's kind of like a lot of things I'm asking you once, but just take your time if you could, just to give us some things in regards to how you deal with what you're dealing with as far as the women ministry.
Great. Well, thank you. I am happy to share. Everything I do from a God perspective. So I am constantly in prayer. This call in my life is great. It's a heavy lift, and it's a burden of my heart. And so it's something that I don't take lightly. I have to seek God in all things. And, the word of God instructs us to do things in love, right? To speak the truth in love. And so love is the motivator for everything that I do. As a committed follower of Christ, I have to be Jesus with skin on, so to speak.
Amen.
And so I am motivated just by knowing God has gifted me with something to give to other women. When I prayed about answering the call to ministry, it was very important to me that I knew every component of a woman, because my reach is wide, it's global. And so in order to speak to something, we have to be relatable, right? It's important that we experience things. And so that's generally, most of the time, primarily, where I start from. That's my foundation in ministering to women.
As you know, as this particular podcast flows, I always ask this question to all of my guests because it's so important to know. throughout everything that you've gone through, what really inspires you?
What really inspires me is for women to walk in the fullness of who they are and to be free just as they are. And so what inspires me is to see women whole, to see women accept who they are, where they are, right here, right now, as they are, and to know that that is enough. And if you want more, there's more out there, but you are enough just as you are, right where you are right now. And so from Harriet Tubman to freeing slaves, to the women that I am birthed from, my grandmother, my mother, my aunts, my sisters, the women I'm connected to in my circle, I glean inspiration from all of them.
Celeste, you kind of like combine my next question in there with that, but that's fine. That's fine. Because, I also know about you by reading your bio is that you spent 25 years in healthcare. So I'm sure you saw quite a bit of inspiration in that in itself. So I guess that probably leads to my next question. So is there any one particular person that inspired you?
In healthcare.
I tell you what, let's rephrase that.
Okay.
Not only in healthcare, but has there been anybody in your life or throughout your life have inspired you, and how did that inspire you? How was that inspiration? I should ask that question that way.
So I'm gonna go to healthcare in particular. I'm gonna talk about my career in general. I have been blessed, honestly, from I joke and I say this, the 1900s. It was so long ago. For like millennials, that's an unthinkable time. Yeah. But from the 1900s, when I, graduated from a medical assisting program to most recently, I have been blessed as a Black woman to have always had a Black female supervisor, boss, manager. And that's rare.
That is rare. That is rare. I was going to mention that. That is rare.
And even as I say that now, I think back to the late 80s. Before I even embarked upon a career in healthcare, my supervisor was a young African-American woman, Black woman. And so those women have been key. They've been very inspirational because they always were in positions that I aimed to be in. I was in an entry-level position, of course, when I started in my career, and then growing and evolving and elevating into management roles. I had real Black women that I could look at as examples and inspiration. And they were women of God. They were God-fearing women. They weren't afraid to tell you that. And so that gave me confidence in my faith as well. So they went hand in hand. I was truly blessed. I've been truly blessed in my career to have eyes on women like that.
Wow. So that inspiration basically came from like mentorship and
yes.
Like that, because you've already answered the first part of that question in regards to some of your motivation and some of the people that you watched that inspired you. You mentioned your own mother, Harriet Tubman, and those type of people, which I can tell you do your homework and you do your history, which is awesome, because a lot of people fail to realize that in order for us to move forward, we have to understand where we came from.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate you just mentioning that. Just a little more about Celeste that you will find out too as well is that I want to make sure that you understand that everything that we discuss on any of my podcasts will be found in the show notes. So please go into the show notes. Also, when you reach us out on Spotify, you can also leave a message. You can leave a message in reference to how you can actually reach Miss Kennedy or anything of that nature. But I will tell you that, I had to reach out to you because of the things that you're currently doing, the things that you've already done. I mean, there's not a lot of people who can say that they've sold out to a situation or sold out to a particular thing that will motivate others all the time. So that's a rarity, Celeste. And I am so pleased and honored to get to have known you and still know you. Of course, I mean, it's not like a past tense because I'm always going to hopefully be in some kind of way. But one thing else I'll ask you before we wrap up, do you have any suggestions or is there anything that you can give our listeners that will encourage and motivate them in regards to something that could inspire them? You know, inspiration is big here. You probably hear me use that word like 1,000 times.
I love it.
But it's true. That is true. So is there anything you could possibly put out there that would help? Certainly.
Sure. Thank you for asking. I think for me, Kenny, it would be take a chance on being open and being vulnerable.
Wow.
You know, we live in such a time where we're guarded and we're trying to protect, our little bubbles. And, it's not until we open ourselves up to sharing with someone else that we provide an opportunity for people to let their guard down, to share something that may be a common thread and pour inspiration from their story into yours.
Wow.
And it just becomes contagious. So
that is so awesome. Yeah.
It's just taking a chance, just open up and be vulnerable. You'll be surprised at what you can find when you do that.
That's an awesome word right there. That's an awesome word. Well, Celeste, again, I thank you for being on the Behind the Inspiration podcast. And for my listeners, and you can also view the simulcast on YouTube. All the information is actually in the show information directory for the show. And you can also, by all means, please like, please share, please make sure that your friends know it. I said it before, some of you guys have thousands and thousands of friends on Facebook, but are they being inspired? So please take the time to like, share, not only just view it, but just click that little share button, click that subscribe button on YouTube and make this thing bigger than what we want it to be in regards to making sure that we can have a blanket of inspiration all over everybody. So again, if you want to get in touch with Ms. Kennedy, we can reach out to her on Instagram, which of course will be in the show notes, but our Instagram is @thepouringin_place, @thepouringin_place. Also, check this out, y'all. She's probably smiling when I say this. Celeste podcast, The Pouring In Place, is in production along with her devotional writings, which will be available soon. So please, again, like, share, make sure this podcast is out there. I'm just thrilled to have you guys every week, every 2 weeks. However God leads me to do this podcast is how it's going to happen. So again, I am your man, Ken Waller. Thank you for joining the Behind the Inspiration podcast. I look forward to seeing you again, Celeste Kennedy. Thank you very much. And we are so happy and thrilled to have you as our guest. Peace and love. Y'all know what I do. Amen.